Hi, this is Jesslyn, and this video is about how to identify triangles given all of its side lengths. So we're going to identify if it's an acute triangle, if it's a right triangle, or if it's an obtuse triangle. We already should know how to identify right triangles with Pythagorean Theorem. If you don't know Pythagorean Theorem, go please watch that video about Pythagorean Theorem. But we know that if a squared plus b squared equals c squared, then we know that that it is a right triangle. Now, A and B are going to be your shortest sides, and C is going to always be your longest side. Okay, so you need to remember that A and B are going to be your shortest sides, and C is going to be your longest side. It doesn't matter which side you label A and which side you label B. Just make sure it's identify the longest side first, and then you can assign A and B to the other two numbers, and it doesn't matter which one, because it's A plus B, and we know that addition is commutative. 2 plus 3 is the same as 3 plus 2, so it doesn't matter the order. So with this little example, if the side lengths are 25 yards, 23 yards, and 22 yards, so we know our longest side is 25, so this has to be the C. And then the other ones, I can say, it doesn't matter which one, A or B. I could have made 23B, but just label the other two A and B. So if it's an acute triangle, that means the two shortest sides, their sum is going to be greater than the longest side. Their sum is going to be greater than the longest side. A right triangle, we know the sum of the two legs squared is going to be equal to the longest side squared. If it's an obtuse triangle, we know A squared plus B squared is going to be less than the longest side. So we just have to plug this in. We just have to do the A squared plus B squared and then the C squared on the other side. So I usually just do it like this, and I don't put a sign in there yet because we don't know which one it is, and then I can check to see which sign. So A squared plus B squared, so my A is 23, so 23 squared, plus my B squared is 22 squared. And then my C squared is 25 squared. C is always going to be the longest side. Let's go ahead and do that. So 23 squared, you can use a calculator for this, plus 22 squared, we get 1013. And then 25 squared is 625. So now we can put our sign in there. We know that it goes like this, right? It's a greater than sign. So our A squared plus B squared is greater than our longest side. So we know it's going to be an acute triangle because that's where our greater than sign is. Okay. So it's going to be an acute triangle. So 1013 is greater than 625. We know this is an acute triangle. So that's how you can do all of them. Just make your A squared plus B squared side and your C squared side, solve it, and then put your sign in at the end and see. So if it's a greater than sign, it's an acute triangle. If it's an equal sign, it's a right triangle. And if it's a less than sign, it's going to be an obtuse triangle. And that's how you identify if it's acute, right, or obtuse. Thank you.